All right, team, what's up? Happy Thursday. I am Dr. Jeff Moore, currently serving as the CEO of ICE, and always thrilled to be here on a Leadership Thursday, which, of course, is a Gut Check Thursday. Thanks to everybody who's here live. Thanks to everybody tuning in on any podcast app of their choice. Always great to have you here with us. So, before we jump into the topic, which is one I've wanted to do for a long time now, we are going to chat about the workout and then about upcoming courses, and then we'll dive in. So, the workout. This is interesting. So last Gut Check Thursday until after the open. So remember, we always pause because the open always dominates Thursday through Monday. Some of you crazy folks rocking the workout several times during that time period. So we always pause during that. So this will be our last Gut Check Thursday. It's going to be 4 rounds for time. You're going to row 23 calories. Then you're going to do 23 double dumbbell deadlifts. 50, 35, of course, 4 rounds. I'm trying to picture that one. Could be a little grippy on the dumbbells. Doesn't seem bad, but that thought has certainly got me into trouble before. So enjoy that, please. Time lapses, tag ICE Physio, hashtag ICE Train. As far as upcoming courses, I want to highlight CMFA Live, our fitness athlete live course, our 2-day landmark fitness forward course that goes through all the foundational lifts in the CrossFit gym, going through why we do them, for what athletes, with what explanation, how to progress, how to regress, all the business. If you want to treat CrossFitters, it is the hallmark course you need to be at. February 11, 12. The folks are going to be in Stillwater, Minnesota. I believe that's going to be Mitch. We're down in Amarillo, Texas. We don't get a ton of courses to Texas, and we hear about that from you all a lot. So this one's going to be in Amarillo, March 4-5. I believe Joe's going to be down there. So we've had some really good turnouts in Amarillo before. If that's your neck of the woods or an area you want to go see, go hit that course up. March 18, 19, we're going to be in Nixa, Missouri. So a few opportunities if you want to be on the road with the crew. We, of course, have the Essential Foundations and Advanced Concepts online courses. And then this is our live expression where you actually get to coach and move and do the thing in real time in front of the faculty. Always a blast. I've seen that course I don't know how many times now, but it's always an absolute blast. So get to that if you can. All right, leaders, you're the one wearing the golden handcuffs, and you need to see this so that you can take them off. And it's imperative for those that you're leading, for the overall success of your company, for long-term being able to look back and being proud of what you did. It matters. So let me explain. If you're not familiar with the idea of the golden handcuffs, right? Very common business term, meaning financial incentives that are given to employees to discourage them from leaving, right? So if you're unfamiliar, it's this idea of compensating people in a way that makes it hard for them to leave, right? Even when maybe their values aren't aligned anymore, or maybe they actually want to do their own thing, or they want to change career tracks, but it's impossible to leave because what they're getting paid makes it irresistible to stay. So what it does is it forces inaction because the current situation is financially irresistible, right? They cannot get themselves to walk. Now, this is more of a Wall Street, big business kind of thing, right? Employees given golden handcuffs in our arena, folks that are listening to this podcast, oftentimes in the rehab or the healthcare setting, right, running a private practice or having a handful of clinics, the kind of robustness of our financial backgrounds in these companies is not one that lends well to giving employees the company yacht for the weekend and taking away that privilege if they leave. Those kind of things usually aren't on the table, right? That lives more in the big business world. In fact, what I'm going to argue right now is that the handcuffs in our world of small business, of rehab, of healthcare are actually usually on different risks. And that's the point of this episode. So over the years on this show, especially on Leadership Thursday, a consistent theme has been urging you to pay your employees well. It's a consistent theme, meaning it comes up over and over again because we don't feel like we see it enough. We don't feel like employees are compensated in a way or have a high enough ceiling that they really get excited about their future and they grind towards that ceiling, thus making the most out of themselves, serving the people that they serve the best, growing the company in the way we'd love to see. We don't tend to see that because the incentives aren't aligned. There are a myriad of reasons to pay people well. And if you just go back through Thursdays, you're going to see a lot of those reasons. But today's angle is a little bit unique. When you pay people well, when you compensate people, when the people that are doing the work get a really fair or even generous portion of the profits for the work done, when you pay people well, it comes with a myriad of benefits. And the way to look at it, I think, best is to look at the opposite. When you pay people poorly, you as the leader profit greatly, not the employee, but you, right? When you pay people poorly, you profit greatly, at least in the short term. And we could have that argument, but it would spiral to a new episode, right, of how there's no longevity in that system. But while the person does stay there, if you pay people poorly, you profit greatly. The problem with this is that leaders quickly get accustomed to these profits that they're making off these people who they're paying poorly. Leaders really quickly get accustomed to these profits. At the same time, when that employee who isn't being compensated well, that person probably won't feel very valued. Down the road, they're going to eventually deliver marginal work, marginal quality work. And my question is, how eager is that leader going to be to remove that employee who's now doing marginal work because they don't feel valued? They don't see a high ceiling. They aren't thinking, hey, if I get to here, right, I get a good return on my investment of effort. They don't see that because it's not there. When they start doing marginal work, how quickly, how willing is that leader going to be to remove them when that leader is making a killing off the work that person's doing and the leader's got accustomed to the spoils of that situation? What I'm trying to say is that the reason so many companies wind up being so mediocre is that their people stray from high standard behavior. People stray from really high standards because they don't see the incentive to uphold them. They don't feel valued in the company. So people stray from high standards and leaders allow it because the profits of the situation are irresistible. That's the problem. Like when you really zoom out, this is what happens day in and day out in mid-sized companies. The leader's making a killing off somebody that somebody, for any of a million good reasons, starts not doing their best quality work, and the leader tolerates it because they need the profits coming from that person's work. If you begin to magnify this over and over and over again across the company, eventually you become mediocrity because what you tolerate is what you become in the long term. Imagine the opposite. Just for a moment, leaders, imagine the opposite. Imagine if the departure of anybody on your staff from a financial perspective was borderline inconsequential. Of course, you're making some money off them. You're making some money off everybody, or the gears wouldn't turn. But imagine if it wasn't very much. Imagine if their departure financially was almost inconsequential. You would tolerate nothing but behavior that was directly in line with the company's values. Your slogan would be, "We're better than that. And if you aren't, there's the door." And you would say it quickly and you would say it whenever it was necessary because them leaving doesn't give you this horrible feeling in the pit of your stomach that you're going to lose profits that your lifestyle has now become dependent upon. So you would have no tolerance to mediocrity. What I'm trying to get you to see is that paying people well solves both problems. First of all, people tend to feel really valued when they're compensated well. They tend to feel taken care of. They tend to feel like what I'm doing here has a really good return on my investment. So not as many of them slip from the standard. But it doesn't solve all the problems. Even in the situation of good compensation, some people will slip. But when they do, you will feel zero hesitation in removing them from your organization. In other words, your golden handcuffs are unlocked. Many of you are wearing golden handcuffs that chain you to mediocrity because you can't resist the profits that tolerance of that mediocrity creates. That's the issue. You're the one wearing the handcuffs. When you don't pay people well enough, not only do they not feel valued, not only are there a million other problems with that, but you profit excessively to the point that you get comfortable with those profits coming in. You get used to them, you get accustomed to them. And when people go to deliver mediocre work, you'll tolerate it because you need them. You're wearing golden handcuffs by underpaying your people, and it's killing your business. It's killing what it used to be. If this speaks to you, if you're an emerging leader or you've been a leader for a while and this speaks to you, I'm begging you to do some soul searching. Remember, there was a time when you were driven by passion, not profit, when you couldn't have imagined somebody not living up to the brand standard and you would get rid of them no matter the costs. You were immune to the need for the comfort. You weren't used to it yet. You can find that again. That still lives there. And if you decide that excellence is going to matter more than profit, the first step that you should take is unloading some of that profit to your people. Let them feel valued, fewer of them slip. And if they do, you rid of them immediately and gladly. Unshackle yourselves. That's the key to small business excellence. Give it some thought, team. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next week. As always, ptonice.com is where the goods live. Cheers, team.